Minutes past 9 a.m. and we are saying welcome to today's edition of the Polity on the seriously authentic radio station, commonly for you from the commercial city of Anambra State, Onitsha. And like we do all the time on this very platform, on this very program, we get to bring you developments in the polity as they are reported by various newspapers. And our topical discussions are taken from these very headlines. And from there, we get to bring you in on different conversation. And I must say that yesterday was quite handful because a lot of things developed in the country, from the court judgment in Finland, which convicted Simon Ekpa, to reactions trailing the statement made by former governor of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. Lots of things have actually happened in that past 24 hours. Then if you talk about what happened in Kebbi State, where the convoy of former Minister of Justice Ebuka Malami was attacked in Kebbi State when he came into the state to attend some condolences, and he has raised some allegations, but the people he was accusing have denied being involved in what happened that yesterday. So we have lots of things happening. Then if you go to Rivers, you see that the sole administrator has sworn in the newly elected local government chairman and councillors, despite the fact that people have been reacting to that very election, saying that the election was illegitimate. But they have been sworn in, and all of them have pledged that they are ready to ensure that they get to bring governance to the grassroots. So some of these are developments that happened yesterday. Some of them are captured in the headline this very morning, while some are not captured. But of course, trust us, we are going to make out things from the major topical issues on this very platform. So stay with us as we're going to bring you the headlines very soon. My name is Franklin and Ebuka. Good morning. Don't forget that we always live on our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Just get on that very page. You see our live video. Join that very live video. In case you are not within the terrestrial reach of our radio station, you can follow us live on social media at the same time. Drop your comment on that very page. On Instagram and on YouTube, Udala Radio, you can watch live too and join the conversation on those platforms. Okay, so let's get to see the headlines we have in the newspaper this very morning. We have 4 newspapers here: The Nation, The Punch, Vanguard, and the Guardian newspapers. And we're going to begin with the headlines we have on The Nation. We have the banner headline here that says, Obi's return to run in 2027 will kill PDP, says Wike. He has a rider, a comeback by him can't happen. Be wary of hypocrites. Minister cautions Jonathan. That's the story. The other headline here says, NSA, Kaduna government knock El-Rufai over payment to bandits claim. It has a rider, don't drag national security institutions into partisan conflict. Is the caution coming from NSA and the Kaduna state government. Above the nameplate, federal government held 6-year jail for terrorists. Ekpa in Finland. Federal government held 6-year jail for terrorists. Ekpa in Finland. Ex-IGP Arase flown back from Morocco in coma. Is on page 2. The story is talking about how former IGP Arase died, that he went to Morocco for a wedding ceremony. Then after eating in Morocco, he took ill and he was flown back in coma to Nigeria, where on Saturday he opened his eyes for the first time, and when it appeared there was hope, he gave up on Sunday. Then another headline on Nation says, Tinubu reaffirms oath to serve fairly. The story is on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. FIRS seeks global action against cross-border tax crime. The story is on page 8 of the Nation newspaper. And then another headline here says, Nigeria, Colombia target aviation trade deals. You can see a picture story there. You will see Mr. President, the Vice President Kashim Shettima, and the Colombian Vice President, all of them in shaking hands in that very picture story. The other headline says, President celebrates loyal deputy, dependable partner Shettima at 59. Of course, Shettima is marking his 59th birthday. Then we cross over to the Punch newspaper. Let's see the headlines here. The banner headline says, Terrorism trial. FG may seek Ekpa's repatriation after Finland's 6-year jail term. The story is on page 2. It has a rider. Government will take further action after judgment review. AGF is the one saying so. And that rider says, ruling 1 into extremists. Information Minister is the one saying so. You can see that very story on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Then another picture story is the story about Mr. President, Vice President, and others who are captured on that very front page. Strike threat. Resident doctors give FG 10-day ultimatum. The story is on page 42. 60-year-old man arrested for raping Lagos lady. The story is on page 5 of Punch newspaper. Oyetola blames wooden boat as accident claims 92 lives. This very story is quite interesting because in a couple of months this very year we have recorded 92 lives lost to boat incidents on our waterways. And the question has been, what are we doing? Now we see Oyetola asking state government to take action to ensure that wooden boats are phased out. But would that be enough? If we phase out wooden boat, what about the flying boats without necessary safety protocols? Would that stop the accidents we do record on our waterways? Then, beside the nameplate of Punch newspaper, the headline here says $600 million monthly diaspora remittances, proof of reforms, FG. And it has the story, or rather, it has the picture of CBN Governor Cardoso. The story is on page 20. Nigerian embassies hit by unpaid rent, salary arrears. The story is on page 3 of the Punch newspaper. You can see the picture of the ambassador, or rather the foreign affairs minister, Togo. And then 2027 PDP obedient, tackle Wike over Jonathan Obi. The story is on page 2. The vice no Onwadi Ejebonobalo Akasod. Obedient and PDP were reacting to what Wike said yesterday when he had a media parley, because he has made it a point of duty that every month he is going to have a media parley where he jumps on anything he feels like jumping on, whether he pays for the media parley with his personal money or with government or with the money of Nigerians. That one is a different thing altogether. Dangote fuel exports, or rather Dangote fuel exports surge amid foreign refinery shutdown. The story is on page 28 of the Punch newspaper. And these are the headlines we have on the Punch newspaper. We're going to go over to the Vanguard newspaper straight ahead. The banner headline says, Jonathan to Keyamo Odenkalo, keep off my political journey. The story is on page 5. It had lots of riders there. So if you pick up this very story, you can see the riders there. Some of the reactions. And I keep on wondering, because each of the stories that come out regarding whether Jonathan is going to run for 2027 or not, people do speak by proxy. Now it's his brother who has been responding. So does that mean that it's an intentional act to keep greasing the media of this very story? Then another story here says, terrorism, FG, CDS, others hail Eba's conviction in Finland. The story is on page 11. It has two riders. We will take further action against Eba, AGF. Our court should expedite hearing of terrorism cases, NBA. NUPRC, NNPCL, Total Energies, Sepatru seal PSC deal on 2 offshore oil blocks. The story is on page 20 of Vanguard newspaper. Empowerment of bandits, FG tackles El Rufai, says claim baseless. The story is on page 14 of Vanguard newspaper. Then on the sports column of Vanguard, page 31, it says Nigerians in South Africa mobilize for Super Eagles against Bafana. Of course, on Saturday we're going to play Rwanda before playing South Africa in Mekoma World Cup qualifier. If we're able to get 3 points against Rwanda, of course, we can have our hopes in our hands. But if we fail to, of course, it could be goodbye to World Cup qualification. Power-hungry politicians seeking to remove Tinubu presidency. The story is on page 9. Childhood cancer. 400,000 children diagnosed annually, WHO. The story is on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper. Then a picture story of the president, vice president, and the vice president of Colombia of course, who is in Nigeria for diplomatic relations. Then, another headline says, Rivers LG poll, Obi Labour Party condemn election. Go to court, Risiek tells aggrieved parties. Is that a new lexicon in our polity? Then this one says, botched agreement. Resident doctors threaten nationwide strike. The story is on page 13 of Punch newspaper. And then we cross over to the last newspaper we have this very morning before we get to bring in the analyst. Now, the headlines on Guardian. The first one here says, local carriers struggle as foreign airlines rake in $1.7 billion from Nigerian market. The story is on page 6. Finnish court jails Eba 6 years for terrorism fraud. The story is on page 29. How integrity character stop Wike from eyeing 2027 presidential bid. What a way to cast a headline. How integrity character stop Wike from eyeing 2027 presidential bid on page 6. Of course, Wike, when he was having the media party yesterday, he said he's not going to run for 2027 presidential election because he has character and he has integrity. That's why this headline is crafted this very way. Then this one says, Bago dissolved Niger cabinet as earlier reconstitute in Benue. The story is on page 29. Nigeria to reallocate dormant oil blocks, signs new production sharing contract. Okay. Another headline says, APC state government El-Rufai trade words over insecurity in Kaduna. The story is on page 29. And they're quite interesting. I think it was Bakure who was an appointee in the government of El-Rufai. He was a person who spoke on behalf of the government of Kaduna City yesterday, condemning El-Rufai, saying all manner of things about him. And that tells you that once the interests do not align, or once the interests divide, or once you cross over to the other side, your once friend could become your political enemy. And that's politics for you here in Nigeria. Then another headline says, FG sets up committee to address foreign missions debt. The story is on page 5. CSO laments state defiance of Supreme Court ruling on LG allocations. The story is on page 3. And people have even questioned if there was any genuine intention in AGFs going to Supreme Court to interpret the 1999 Constitution with respect to the autonomy of local governments. FG urges traditional medicine practitioners to standardize products. The story is on page 3. I think in Anambra State that's a bill, or rather that's a law that has been passed to regulate the practice of traditional medicine. Of course, we must find a way to incorporate it into orthodox medicine because in some faraway countries like India and China that we do go, they have found a way of ingraining traditional medicine into the orthodox, and of course it's been helping their healthcare system. And these are the headlines we have this very morning on the 4 newspapers we have mentioned. And before we get to the analysis, let's get to meet Dr. Olisa Mbeki. Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin Ebuka. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, India Nambara. Good morning, India Onitsha. Wherever you are listening to us from, it's always a pleasure to be here. Just like we always say, we are back in our sanctuary where we pontificate the truth and nothing but the truth, and that is our guiding principle. Is our own Bible, is our own Quran, is our own everything, and we work based on the instructions and the directives of the God Almighty. We say good morning to the God Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth. We are in Ember Month, and then just like the Birikambiri team, we are discussing about the implications, the Ember Month, how people view it, and how it's being perceived or being viewed as a month where a lot of things happen. And I thought they did justice to that when they were able to capture that, because many people want to meet up based on number of months they were not able to meet up. In that attempt to meet up, to turn up, there would be so much hasty actions, and those hasty actions will definitely crash if they are not properly guided. You're welcome. It's always good to be here.
All right, so Tony, did you see the video that came out yesterday? That very video, you see Enugu Air and a passenger being dragged off the aircraft. up till now, we have not had any statement from either the passenger or the airline. What do you know about it?
I think Enugu Air was launched sometime around, it was recently. I don't know if it was late July. It was launched. And I saw the video. You asked if did I see the video? I saw it. Over the internet, they labeled the video Pam 3. That was the trending story. Why they labeled it Pam 3? Pam 1 was with the person known as Pam 1. And the Pam 2 was the young lady from Akwa Ibom, over Akwa Ibom Air. And then they now say this one is Pam 3. And over the internet, they are saying that this thing is spreading across different ethnic zones. That Pam 1 of Southwest, that's Yoruba. Then Pam 2 of South, that is Akwa Ibom. Then Pam 3, Enugu, Southeast, that is the Southeast. So it tells you a lot. But for me, I read some comments, people pushed out on that very video. They were saying that entering or boarding aircraft or airplanes these days look like entering Muelwe, entering Keke. Because you know one thing about Keke and Muelwe, if you enter Muelwe, whatever you see, you take. There is no orderliness. There is no protocol. There is no decorum. That is Muelwe for you. And when you enter Keke, the same thing applies. No decorum, no protocol. And you know, when we are growing, one thing about aeroplanes, we are the decorum, the civility, how passengers are being treated or we are being treated then, and how the respect in view is being accorded to them. These things have been eroded over time, especially here in Nigeria. And we saw the officials of the Enugu Air forcibly taking off a passenger from the aircraft for the sole reason probably he was unruly and his behavior could not be contained. And we have seen this many times. I think the last time this happened was when the aviation minister came out and said that there is a guiding rule, or he read the Riot Act to everyone that Keke and Muelwe, you can't in any way relate it to aeroplanes, aircraft. You cannot. But what we've seen these days in Nigeria is situations where the highly elevated aircraft and aeroplanes have turned to be Muelwe. But for me, just like I always say, those officials were very unprofessional. You don't in anywhere, I keep saying this, I keep hammering on this, forcibly take a passenger out of the aircraft. If for any reason there are protocols, there are departments, there are units, allow these units to do their work.
Okay, so apart from this issue of unprofessionalism of flight crew and airport security in most of the cases we have seen, if not in all these very cases, can we take a small time to talk about the character deficit of many Nigerians? Because many Nigerians, even when they are at fault, they want to exert some kind of right. They want to tell you that they are right in what they say. I just want to localize this thing. Maybe you board a commercial bus and you have other passengers, and the passenger who knows that he's going to alight or is going to set down at Seaman, for instance, other than telling driver on time so that driver will know how to navigate, because he will wait until when the driver gets to that Seaman go kaisi asuya or say kampo, and when driver fails to stop the way he wanted it, it becomes a crisis. Now, how do we get to understand how to manage ourselves once we find ourselves in public places or in certain places? How do we conduct ourselves in compliance with the code or protocol of each of the circumstances we find ourselves in?
I think many Nigerians who commit these things, if they go outside the country, I bet you they will not commit these things. It's a failure of institutions. I have said it many times. Laws do not work here, and that is why people believe they are above the law. People believe that I can do this and get away with it and nothing will happen. And they have also shown evidence that there are people that have done this and walked away with it. One thing about our institutions, we don't have a way of deterring reoccurrence. If these people who had done all this Quam 1, Quam 2, Quam 3, as the internet says, if they had been in any of these foreign countries, they will comport themselves very well. Once they are asked to leave, they will quietly, politely. And we have situations where institutions don't work. People have no regard for institutions, because some of these people that did what they did is a sign that they don't have regard for these institutions. Why? Because these institutions either in the past have derailed or have compromised. They don't have regard for them. Somebody you have respect for, whenever the person tells anything, you will politely obey. But somebody you don't have respect for, whenever the person tells you something, you go and tell the person, go and sit down. You can't tell me this here. Institutions have not lived up to the expectations. I'll begin there. If you talk about mentality, I bet you these people will not do these things in any of these Western countries or even Asian countries. They cannot do it in China, they cannot do it in Singapore, they cannot do it in Malaysia, they cannot do it in Indonesia. They won't do it there. Reason being that in those areas, institutions have always risen above mere sentiments and deploy professionalism, decorum in doing what they do. I'm not here holding brief for Nigerians, because we know Nigerians, many of them, they are more or less rascals. But we have many Nigerians outside the country. Many of them live there. Why do they tend to obey the codes, the ethics, the laws of those countries, but when they come here, they don't obey our laws? The simple reason is failure of institutions. Institutions have proven over time to serve some persons, to serve the interests of some people, and for the fact they are serving some persons or serving the interests of people, you see those that will challenge them and tell them go and sit down. You don't have any reason.
All right. Okay. So, but I just want to tell Nigerians, because sometimes we do see all these things, and even when you try to correct some person, they think they have a point. I'm still using that example of, if you are in a commercial bus going to anywhere, it's your duty to tell the driver or the motorboy, the one we call bus conductor, on time. This is where you are going to set down for that very vehicle. It's going to help them to navigate, know how to move, whether to overtake or not. It's not when you get to your point, say, driver, I'm going to stop here, and I have a brake motor as if Namadu wheelbarrow. It doesn't happen that very well. Because once you are driving on the road, of course, you are driving for yourself and for the person behind you and person in front of you. So we should be mindful of all this, so that we can help ourselves, so that we don't force the driver into making a mistake and then put everybody at risk on the road. So this, just by the way, we have to get to the issue for this very morning, because a couple of things happened, and what seems to be getting most attention is the sentencing of Simon Ekpa to 6 years in prison in Finland. Federal government has reacted. IPOB has reacted. We have also heard from the CDS. They have all reacted in one way or the other. But let's look at what the court did, because yesterday, the Paijat Him District Court in Finland sentenced the Nigerian born Finnish to 6 years in prison for terrorism-related crimes and other offenses. The 40-year-old former municipal politician from Lahti was convicted on multiple charges, including participation in the activities of a terrorist organization, incitement to commit crimes for terrorist purposes, aggravated tax fraud, and violations of the Lawyers Act. The court ordered that Ekpa remain in custody. And according to the judgment, between August 2021 and November 2024, Ekpa attempted to promote the independence of the so-called Biafran region in southeastern Nigeria through illegal means. Now look at what the court said. He used social media to gain a politically influential position and took advantage of the confusion within a key separatist movement in Nigeria to play a significant role in it. And then he goes on to say that Of course, when the charges were read to Eba, he denied all those charges, saying that he was a content creator. But the court found that Eba was instrumental in founding and developing the separatist movement into a more organized structure, working alongside others. Now, it was revealed during the trial that armed groups were established under the movement, which the court classified as a terrorist organization, and other things followed. Now, take note that this very trial was conducted over 12 sessions between May 20th and June 2025, with a panel of 3 judges unanimously delivering the verdict. And like I said yesterday, that the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, has reacted, hinting that there could be a possibility that the federal government could seek the repatriation of Eba. Let's begin with the judgment first. So, Tony, your thought. Do you think that the judgment is a reflection of the wishes and feelings of the Nigerian people, especially those from the southeastern part of Nigeria?
It depends on the divide you are talking about. If you ask me if the judgment reflects the wishes and aspirations of many people from the southeast, it depends on who is speaking. But over the internet, I gathered that so many people held the judgment. We just have few that said otherwise. And did we see this coming? The answer is yes. We saw it coming. Remember, Simon Njoko Eba, because that's his full name, born sometime around March 21st, 1985. He became 40 from March, from Ohauku, Ebonyi State, Nigeria. Dua finish and previously a Nigerian citizen, though he renounced Nigerian citizenship in 2022. I remember when he renounced it, but I didn't know whether he followed the legal process of renunciation. It's one thing to say I'm no more a Nigerian. It's another thing to also process it legally by ensuring that you take the necessary legal steps. I'm also aware that he won silver in triple jump at the 2003 African Junior Athletics Championships for Nigeria. He relocated to Finland in 2007 as an athlete. He learned Finnish, performed military service in 2013 and served as reservist. And I'm also aware that from 2015 he was chairperson of Igbo Union in Finland. I'm also aware that from 2017 down to 2021, that's about 4 years, he was member of Lati Municipals under National Coalition Party, Kokomus. I'm also aware that he had been active in local politics in Finland since 2012, having moved in 2007, and also public transport official for Lati region as of 2022. He was given Ambassador for Peace Award by the Universal Peace Federation in Helsinki, that's the capital of Finland, in 2023. But if you look at his activism and Biafra movement, because in 2022 he declared activation of the Biafra government in exile, BGIE, and became his self-styled and self-acclaimed prime minister, later known as Biafra Republic Government in Exile, Biafra Defense Forces, and the formed Biafra Liberation Army, BLA, all aiming to re-establish his quest. He pushed and at the same time enforced sit-at-home protests in Nigeria's southeast. Remember when Nnamdi Kanu was rearrested, and when the IPOB denounced it at home, saying that Nnamdi Kanu had said that the sit-at-home would not continue in whatever reason, even when some people were divided over the issue of sit-at-home. Some wanted it, some do not want it. But he was issuing threats on this issue of sit at home, mobilizing his liberation army to go after those who may not abide by that. We know very well that he was previously arrested but released, and he was rearrested again. He was rearrested by Finland National Bureau of Investigation alongside 4 others on terrorism related suspicions. Anyway, he had been held in custody without bail, his assets frozen along with those of his accomplices and related companies. In fact, the judgment came yesterday, where he was sentenced to 6 years in prison by Pajatham District Court, and they convicted him on terrorism related offenses, aggravated tax fraud, and Lawyers Act violation. With all this, you ask, are people here happy with his conviction? And we must also note, very importantly, that Nigerian government had written different petitions to ensure his arrest based on what they thought he was doing by ensuring that the national security through his activities was destabilized. So in all of this, you can understand that he was convicted on the ground of public incitement to commit a crime with terrorism using social media platforms from August 2021 to November 2024 to incite violence against civilians and authorities in southeastern Nigeria. He was also convicted for participating in a terrorist group, engaging in activities related to a terrorist organization specifically linked to his leadership in a faction of the IPOB, and financing terrorism. I've said these things here, and I've listened to some comments and some commentators who say that his activities are quite different from the activities of IPOB, that he has his own activities and IPOB has their own activities. In all of these, it's important that it's on record that sometime around June 2023, the same Ekpa, Simon Njoku Ekpa, I remember he declared war against people in Enugu State for starting from the very time he said he will enforce the ban on sit-at-home with all powers available to him. And there was a time he said that he has stationed warships, mercenaries, fighter jets. These broadcasts are still there. He has stationed them to liberate the Biafrans. But from records, there was no warship stationed. There was no fighter jet stationed. And just like you said, he denied all these charges. He said he was creating content. That was his response in court. But his actions and activities were seen to have a devastating effect in Nigeria. And it was Finnish law that was used to get him convicted. Their criminal code, I think, is very, very unequivocal. They simply use their criminal code to get Simon Ekpa convicted. And I've said, if you look at it, you also understand that Finland has one of the strictest cyber crime law in Europe. There's no doubt about it. In fact, they applied a lot of principles. The principle of lex loci delicte commissi, which means the law of the place where the crime is committed. That they have jurisdiction over that issue. And then the issue of ubi societas ibi juris, where there is society, there is law. They made it known to him. In fact, all his comments, all his statements, all his incitements, and all the time he declared war on different state governments and what he asked people to do to carry on, these things were well enumerated. He said he was creating content.
Okay, so Tony, there was a time that many Nigerians were asking Finland to act. Even federal government was also asking Finland to act. So they were thinking that, because Finland was not taking any action, that was why his activities were ongoing then. The call was persistent coming from different quarters, but nothing was happening then until November 2024, when the Finnish government decided to take an action. They decided to arrest him then. That was November 2024 on allegations including spreading terrorist propaganda via social media. That arrest actually happened. He was detained briefly. When he was detained briefly in 2023. Yes, it was in February 2023 that he was firstly detained briefly amid suspicion of illegal fundraising. But those charges were not sustained at that point in time. Then in 2024, November 2024, that was when he was now arrested, the one that led to this very outcome that we are talking about now. But where we should go into now is to look at the possible message that could come out from this very sentencing. In as much as there are some Nigerians who are saying that the sentencing to 6 years is not that much, for them, they are saying that if he's going to run concurrently, it's going to be about 3 years. And if while in prison, maybe he becomes of good conduct, he might get parole, and that reduces the sentencing. But look at where I want us to look at now. This Finnish judiciary has done something which some persons are saying that it's a vindication on Nigeria's consistent position on this very matter. Now, this is very convincing. Do you think that it is capable of sending any clear signal to any extremists anywhere in any part of the world, maybe who is watching and also doing something similar to this very nature against Nigeria? Does that send a message that justice might one day catch up with those who seek to destabilize the nation through any kind of terror?
It sends a clear message. Most times when we tell people certain things they don't believe, they call you all sort of name. And here we have Ebuka being convicted. Just like I said earlier on, we saw it coming. Remember, Nigerian government had wanted his arrest and extradition. But Finland, being a country of law, they are, of course, give it to them. They are a country of law. They were able to conclude this case in a record time. And recall, Ebuka has right to appeal. But from the records, from indications, he has not indicated if he's going to appeal or not. Nigerian government exerted diplomatic pressure on Finland, and this pressure appeared to have contributed to his arrest and subsequent legal proceeding. We understand that the charges and convictions were handled strictly under Finnish law. No contribution from Nigerian government, but the pressure was purely on his arrest and prosecution. Just like we said earlier on, when he was briefly detained in Finland in February 2023 rather, on suspicion of inciting violence and illegal fundraising related to threats to disrupt Nigeria's 2023 general elections, which he was strictly against. He was released shortly after. Many criticized Finland for releasing him, and that also raised diplomatic tension between Nigeria and Finland. In fact, Nigerian officials accused Finland and the EU of shielding him. His main arrest occurred on November 2024. It was, I think, November 21st in Lahti. But when the National Bureau of Investigation, on suspicion of public incitement to commit crimes with terrorist intent, this time around, they swooped on him. And then in all of this, he was suspected to be equipping armed groups with weapons and explosives and financing terrorism activity from 2021 down to 2024. Remember, he was not arrested alone. There were other 4 that were arrested alongside him for the same financing the terrorist operations and so many things. But just like I said earlier on, these things he started his activities in 2021. In 2023, he was briefly arrested and released. His main arrest came in 2024. So you find out that there is no escape for anybody who has done something wrong, because definitely the long arm of the law will definitely get across with you.
All right.
I remember, I also want to point out that there was also a report that also indicated that the money he raised was primarily used to finance armed operations, including buying weapons like AK-47, bullets, and ammunition for militias fighting either Nigerian security forces or trying to enforce the sit at home. They had diplomatic lobbying and so many things. And I also had it on a good note that Finnish authorities also suspected that illegal fundraising as early as February 2023. And Nigerian officials froze related bank accounts. I don't want to mention the banks. Many Nigerian banks were involved. So you can understand that he raised quite a lot of money. There were those who were pushing money in hard currencies to him, giving him money for his struggle. And he kept making those people to believe he had bought warship, he had bought fighter jets, and these things will be used for so-called liberation, and they were busy pumping money for me. It was discovered later there was no warship bought, there was no fighter jet bought, so it was deceit, it was a kind of scam.
Okay, so Tony, his journey to conviction in Finland actually began in November 2024, as you have mentioned, when he was arrested by Finnish authority, and he was kept in custody. He didn't get a bail. Maybe we should take note of this. He didn't get a bail based on the nature of the crime. But it was on May 16, 2025, that Finnish prosecutors formally filed terrorism-related charges against Ebuka. And one of those charges is public incitement to commit a crime with terrorist intent and participation in a terrorist group before the Pajad Home District Court. Then the actual trial began officially on May 30th, 2025, when Ebuka appeared in court to face the charges against him, which were terrorism related, and then issue of aggravated tax fraud and violating provisions of Finland's Attorney Act. Now, look at what the prosecutors sought for. They sought a 6-year prison sentence on Ebuka, and on September 1st, that was yesterday, 2025, Ebuka was sentenced to 6 years in prison, and that's about 3 months, 2 days after the trial started. But if you are going to count from November last year when he was arrested, you can say barely 11 months after the arrest. Now, let's talk about the Nigerian judiciary, how we can compare this. So, what can Nigerian judiciary draw from this very Finnish court that began trial and finished it, offered a conviction within 3 months?
We have a lot to learn. You have a lot to learn on that ground. If you ask me, what can we draw? What can we take away from what happened in Finland? We have a lot to learn. First, the Finnish courts are well digitized. They have smart courts. If you see somebody in court, you see how the person is equipped with all manner of digital gadgets. They trace or they track every suit. Look at how evidence, witnesses, some of these things were done in record time. Something that started sometime around this, was it March or May or thereabout? Because the actual trial started around March this year or so, and conviction done before. In fact, before now, sentence was read. He had been convicted. Just that sentence was read yesterday. If you look at March, April, May, June, July, August, 5 months in record time. Everything digitized. If you look at, even when some of this evidence we are pouring in, the person accused was seeing everything. His comments, the videos, everything well placed, choreographed. When I was saying he has right to appeal, I don't know if he can appeal this, because he himself was convinced with what happened in the court. Just like I said earlier on, it's important that we also take some milestones. I have said this many times, and I'm going to say it again. And for some of us who are easily duped, let me, give these records because it's important we say everything we know about this and we move on. I'm also aware that there was a time it was reported. I'm just looking at the amount this young man made. I'm concerned about that amount. There was a time in 2022, sometime around July, EBA requested $3 million total by asking 50 Biafrans to donate $10,000 each monthly for 6 months. He promised that Biafra independence will be achieved by 2023. He made a promise that by 2023 that he would get. In fact, there had been times he made promises giving date and timelines, but none came to be. And in fact, I know that generated a lot of internal rift within within the larger Biafran camp. I'm aware that there was a single donor who made $50,000 donation. If that person was living in Canada. I'm also aware that over 85 million naira, about $53,000 at current rate, was spent on some things, because during the COVID of a thing, I think he bought rice, bought cards for sit-at-home protesters. He gave them this money. If he had spent quite a lot of money. So I'm also aware that he said that $10,000 per month was paid to US firm Moran Global Strategies for advocacy on Biafran independence. That's what he told everybody. And in fact, I can go on and give it. Time will not permit me to give you a detailed account of some of the things he was able to do. But the truth remains that under Finnish law, and then we must state it here, since he has not been convicted for the first time, do you know that once he serves 3 years, he can be released on parole?
Parole, yes, that's what.
Just 3 years.
So that's why that's why I'm just asking.
That's another thing.
Is that 6 years commensurate with the enormity of the crime he committed or of the terrorism that he sponsored?
If not for aggravated tax fraud, he would have been sentenced to 4 years. Because some of these things are to run concurrently. If you go by Finland criminal code, the least is 4 months for terrorism incitement. The least is 4 months. The maximum is 4 years. That's the maximum. So if not for aggravated tax fraud that he also committed, the sentencing would have been for 4 years. They are working in accordance with their law.
Okay, so let's talk about, because I talked about what the Nigerian courts could learn, or the Nigerian judiciary, because it's not just judiciary, because the judges have to learn this issue of unnecessary delays when it comes to trial of cases. How do we deal with it? Then the issue of the investigating agencies, how do they go about to investigate their cases and ensure that they get all the evidence, so that it won't be when you get to court, you now begin to, when the case is already in court, you are still looking for evidence. So they should ensure that this could be a lesson for them. They learn from this, but and see how we can do better at our trial court. Now let's look at the point where, in the midst of the reactions we have seen so far, IPOB has distanced itself from EBA, insisting that he was never part of the organization. They are saying that anybody trying to link EBA to the IPOB is doing that out of mischievousness, because for a long time IPOB had distanced itself from the activities of EBA, saying that whatever he was doing, that he was on his own, and that was what led to the parallel creation of the one he called Biafran Government in Exile, and also the Biafran Liberation Army. So with this, should I call it denial or exoneration? Do you have a word for anybody in the Southeast regarding what IPOB said? I
think IPOB over time, they have been able to let us know that there is difference between IPOB and then the Biafran Government in Exile. And remember how the split started. One, the Directorate of State under IPOB started having issues with EBA. Remember, DOX had wanted the sit at home to be abolished, and then to ensure that people support the cause of Nnamdi Kanu, where the legal proceeding will be followed the way they had directed. But EBA was of the view that There's no way Kano will be held in captivity and you do not declare sit at home. So it was one of the issues that led the two parties to have differences. They differ in many ways. In fact, at a point, Eba was accusing the DOX that they have compromised, that have been bought over by the Nigerian government. So they are now saboteurs. That's what he called them. That he is doing what Nnamdi Kanu ordinarily would have done, but that is left to be seen. He started his own, fighting the DOS, fighting the DOS, because at the point, I have heard people saying that Eba is not a member of IPOB, he does not belong to IPOB, that IPOB have their case in court, they are pursuing their case in court, and so many other things, that he has his own group, he has his own faction. But no matter how you look at it, he has also made statements where he praises or where he praised Nnamdi Kanu, saying that he remains the leader. And if you look at what one of the, I think, I don't know whether the woman is Nnamdi Kanu's wife or cousin, I don't know, he said that some national dailies got it wrong, that Eba is never a pop leader, that they have one and only undisputable leader.
So does that mean that he latched on the IPOB image to begin to push his nefarious activities, inconsistent with what IPOB stood for?
You can also maybe or maybe not. Remember, there was a time he worked with Nnamdi Kanu. There's no how you try to maybe deny the fact. There was a time, but the role he picked for himself, who gave him that role? I wouldn't say whether Nnamdi Kanu gave him that role or not. So remember, Nnamdi Kanu is the founder and leader of IPOB. Yes.
Okay.
There's no doubt.
Now, Tony, government of Nigeria has said that he is going to review the case. By the time he gets certified true copy of the case, he's going to review it, and then by the time Ekpa must have finished serving his sentence, they will now decide whether to ask for repatriation or not. Would you support that he be repatriated to face another charge here in the country?
And let's be real. I like being factual. He's a Finnish citizen. He's a Finnish citizen. Remember, in one of the points I raised, he denounced being a Nigerian citizen, and I said I can't say here if he followed that up or not. I said it here. He followed it up legally.
So you are saying that it's already challenged that the federal government can make that move and get it?
No. I'm looking at possibilities. They can make attempts. There's no doubt. The federal government can make attempts, but it is somehow, I've not seen some of these Western countries repatriating their citizens. Remember, I just said he was a councillor in Lati Municipal. Are you not aware? He is also a member of coalition party in Finland. I said these things when I was actually trying to establish who Eba is. So the possibility of Finland repatriating him to Nigeria is slim, very slim. Are they repatriating him on what ground? And they said they have jurisdiction. When you talk about repatriation, is where you repatriate somebody to fix trials. And remember, in EU, before somebody is repatriated, there are some grounds that must be established, and one is seen that where you will not be tried unfairly. But in this case, Finland has assumed jurisdiction. They said we have quoted the Lego or the principle they acted on. They said he is our citizen. The crime was committed in our land. That is the one thing that Nnamdi Kanu has against Nigerian government. You said I committed this crime. Where? All right. But in this case, Finland says he committed a crime in Finland because he made those broadcasts, he made those things in Finland, and it's against the laws. So the idea of trying to get him repatriated, it may work, but the chance is, let me put it, may not be up to 1%.
All right, so let's switch to Nigerian politics, 2027 politics, because it's still playing out, and as usual, as he does every month, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike yesterday held under media parley where he spoke with some pressmen on several national issues, so to say. Of course, those parley, or rather, the parley he had yesterday wasn't on his activities as a FCT minister. Rather, it was on things that he didn't feel that he should delve into. And as usual, he spoke about PDP, spoke about the effort to reconcile and what have you not. In fact, yesterday he had a meeting with some persons, called stakeholders, and this very morning they issued a 6-month demand that PDP must meet if the PDP convention is to go on. We are going to go to that. But let's finish with this very one, because that yesterday, when a question was brought about regarding the plan to bring back P2B into PDP, into the PDP family, likewise former President Goodluck Jonathan, he dismissed that, saying that any attempts to do that will be to create problems for the party. And I just want to quote what he said, so before we now get into that very conversation. Now he said this. Okay, on the proposal to give the party's presidential ticket to the former Anambra governor, Wike said, "Bring Obi to where you want to kill the party more. Some of you do not have character. Obi, who was abusing the party, said that the party is rotten. So is the party good now for him to come and run for the presidency? Ambition can even make you to go to Satan's house," he said. And for him, it is a no-brainer, or it's a no-no, to make any attempt to bring Obi back to PDP. And that question is, does Wike have a point in his assertion that if Obi gets back to the PDP, that it can bring under crisis in that very party?
He has no point. That's the simple answer to your question. And we are talking about a politician who is so much concerned about his own personal interest. Wike is an interested party, and then you ask him to allow somebody that will take off the meal on his table away. What do you expect? We must also note that these things are politics. There's no sentiment about it. I've always said people play politics, and politics is a game of interest. So when you see Wike speak, he is speaking based on his own interest, no more, no less. So for me,
his interest is it to use the PDP machinery to deliver Mr. President who gave him an appointment, or to still exert influence in PDP?
I have said it many here, and he has not hidden it. He has not shied away from it. He wants to use PDP to deliver Mr. President. Are you not aware that they have many demands?
So is he afraid that if Obi comes into the PDP, he might be able to challenge his preferred candidate?
Definitely, because Wike's statement reflects fear of political displacement within PDP itself. Since Obi's movement attract both PDP and APC disaffected supporters, he knows very well that. Look at his outing in 2023 general elections. Unprecedented gross regional appeal. In fact, he knows quite well what he did in River State to shortchange Obi's votes. He knew what he did. I think by the time he must have served out in government and maybe retired from politics, he will have time to write books on some of these things if he has conscience. The point is, if Obi comes back to PDP, Wike will be politically displaced within PDP ranks. He will be politically displaced, and he wouldn't want that. He will fight it. He will make sure it doesn't happen. Rather, he will ensure that he puts fire. The top roof will be blown out. So this is politics. I have always said. Forget, he has made some scathing statement. He was talking about how would you bring somebody who said that PDP is rotten and all that. Wike has even made even worse statement than that. And then if you want me, I can also go on and let you know some of the things he did say about PDP.
Now, what can Obi bring to PDP if he eventually gets back to that very party? Is it going to be all about positivity, or is it going to be a baggage that he's going to bring to the party?
I don't know. I have never supported Obi going to the PDP. I've always said it. There are many forces that will work against him, that will betray him, that will sabotage him, and Wike forces will do that. He can't come and take away what they have in their mouth from them. And look at Wike. Wherever he goes, he goes with live band. In any function, in any event, Wike is one minister that commissions anything that is anything that can be commissioned. He commissions borehole. He commissions somebody who had almost how many months? 1 month for commissioning a project. Every day there is one commission or the other, and that is how taxpayers' money have been wasted. And we know he's kind of person. He is histrionic in nature. Histrionic people are those who like attention. They like seeking attention. They like having attention all around themselves.
Now he said he has character and integrity. Do you think he has?
In what sense? He has made many statements that he never fulfilled. He said he would never support Muslim ticket. He said he will never. I don't want to go into so many things he said. And for you to have integrity or have character, your works should be abound.
Now,
dictum, meatum, pactus.
Yesterday, after that very media party he had meeting with some members of the PDP. At that very meeting that they called stakeholders meeting, they met to present a position to the PDP National Working Committee ahead of the convention. If you look at those who were at that very meeting yesterday, Samuel Anyanwu, PDP National Secretary, was there. Samuel Autumn, former governor of Benue State, was there. Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayoshe was there. Former Abia State Governor Kizit Bazo was there. And then his Enugu State counterpart, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, they were all there. And at the end of the meeting, they issued a communique which was signed by Samuel Autumn of Benue State. Now, they say that that the PDP must return to the path of equity, fairness, and inclusivity if it hopes to remain a credible alternative for Nigerians. And they gave a 6th condition that the PDP must meet for them to have the national convention plan for in the southwestern part of Nigeria. Now, the first one is said a fresh congresses must be held in Ebonyi and Anambra State in strict compliance with substituting court judgments. A new Southeast Zonal Congress must be urgently conducted. The outcome of the South-South Congress in Calabar, already upheld by the court, must be respected. PDP should immediately conduct the Ekiti local government congresses in line with judicial pronouncement. There should be no microzoning of offices beyond the general zoning formula already adopted by the National Executive Committee (NEC) to maintain peace and stability. And the national chairmanship position must remain in the North Central, consistent with the zoning arrangement of the 2021. And according to them, the PDP is at a defining crossroad, and that any attempt to sideline valid members or ignore judicial rulings would only deepen division. Let's look at this very demand that I make.
These demands are demands that align with their personal interest and their own clique or camp interest. The person who they want out of the Southeast Zonal is not a member of their cartel. That is it. He has voiced it out many times, and even when court has said all these things are matters of the party, it's for the parties to decide for themselves. It's not within the jurisdiction of any court, according to Supreme Court. But Wike will not rest. If you look at, they don't want microzoning in Ekiti, just to align with their interest. Now you talk about the South that held in the zonal congress that held in Calabar. Everything they had put out there is to ensure that the interests of their supporters and cliques are protected. And why are they seeking this interest? To make it safe to deliver President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He has conquered River, there's no doubt. He has conquered River State. He has said, in fact, he made it known that Fubara is returning on September 18, that he is not even the president. The person that should be making this statement should be the president, even when many of us argue that Mr. President acted wrongly and there is no constitutional basis upon which a governor could be suspended. But look at Wike giving us dates and hints that Fubara is. So even Mr. President hasn't come out to tell us if the emergency rule will be extended, because he also said that it will be for the first time of 6 months. So Wike has told us there is no extension. Fubara is. So what does that mean? He becomes, or he has become the mouthpiece of the president. So these things were hatched, and he has made it known to Mr. President that all he's doing is for his own best interest, to ensure that River State votes, and at the same time some state votes, belongs to you in 2027. And he has the support of Mr. President in most of these things he's doing. I've not seen, maybe I may be wrong, an FCT minister acts more like a demigod. In the history of FCT ministers, none of them have been given such powers Wike was given. Where he doesn't resort to Federal Executive Council meeting for different approvals. He does approvals by himself. He generates revenue for himself. There's no difference between Wike and the state governor. In fact, he acts more than a state governor because he will use the federal might to suppress any state governor. And remember, he once boasted that he will put fire in most of these PDP governors that do not want to abide by his own dictates. So even when he said it was metaphorical, the point remains that he has decided a role he would want to play. He's playing the role of a captain in a football. He's playing the role of a referee. He's also playing the role of the players. He does so many roles at the same time. Just like you said earlier on, all these things are fleeting. It's a question of time. All these things you see, they are fleeting. But it's one thing we will study. It's one thing that references will be made to by the time it comes to the day of reckoning.
All right, so let's talk about this story about Nigerian embassies being hit by unpaid rent and salary arrears. Because what we have now, the federal government has admitted to mounting financial and operational difficulties across Nigeria's diplomatic and consular missions abroad, blaming budgetary shortfalls and foreign exchange policy changes for this strain. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs made this admission on Monday in a statement by its spokesperson Kimebi Ebiemfa. The ministry acknowledged that the challenges had disrupted the smooth functioning of the several missions, leading to delays in the payment of salaries for locally recruited staff, allowances for home-based officers, and rents owed to landlords and service providers. Now, the questions Nigerians have been asking is that we've been told that government on Nigeria has been making more money since petrol subsidy was removed. The same government has been borrowing, to finance projects, and we have been implementing 3 projects, or rather 3 budgets at the same time. And they're asking questions: why is Nigeria being disgraced this very way in its foreign missions abroad?
I don't know. They have cited funds as the real reason. Remember, Nigeria, as of 2025, operates 109 diplomatic missions worldwide. They have about 76 embassies, 22 high commissions, and 11 consulates. I'm aware. Remember that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sometime around September 2nd, 2023, recalled all career and non-career ambassadors and high commissioners worldwide. The only exceptions were Nigeria's permanent representatives in New York and Geneva. We are thinking that envoys were expected to return. In fact, many of these envoys returned to Nigeria by October 31st, 2023. There had never been replacement as we speak. And the only reason or reasons we are being given is the mere fact that we have so much to do in most of these countries. We are in our foreign missions, places where we need to renovate those areas, annual rents. There are so many baggages. And then from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Tuko, he was saying that massive amount is actually needed. So in all of this, I think apart from the funding constraints according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and at the same time the administrative and political priorities and also diplomatic concerns, in fact, you cannot attract this investment Mr. President is truncating around the world without having a high commissioner or ambassador being there. These are people. If those people you have as workers, they cannot facilitate anything. Take it or leave it.
All right. So take it or leave it. And at that point, we have to take it from there for us to go for this very commercial break. Once we return, we are going to open the phone line before we delve more into the issue we've raised and some other things that might come in the course of this very conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast, Wendy's bread. Opa kitchen they do yellow, Wendy's bread. Mama, papa they like Wendy's bread. That kitchen they don't do, Wendy's bread. Even children they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread. Get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body chama. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Ọ bụ n'ime ala obi anyị ka obi dị mkpa na-egosi onwe ya. Ụlọ ọrụ ndị ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa kwụchiri ichekwaba anyị niile n'agbanyeghị ọnwụnwa n'ihe ịma aka dị iche iche. Mmụọ anyị agaghị ada mba, anyị ga-ebilikọ ọnụ n'agbanyeghị ihe ọbụla na-eme. Ngwa gee ntị gị bụ nwa afọ, anyị ga-ejide eziokwu oge niile. Akụkọ ụgha na-emebiri anyị ihe n'ime oke ọnụma ịgbasa okwu ụgha n'obi nkoropụ. Ndị ala anyị dị uchu iwepụta onwe ha n'ọrụ nakwa ịkwụba aka ọtọ n'ọrụ ha. Onye agha ọbụla na-akwado ihe ziri ezi, nsọpụrụ na iguzosi ike n'ezi ihe ka anyị ji echekwa ala anyị kwa ehihie na abalị. Nchekwa gị bụ oke na ọrụ dịrị anyị. Anyị ga-emezu nkwa anyị kwere ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa. Anyị na-eguzosi ike oge niile ma dịkwa njikere. Enwekwala ka oke akụkọ na-enweghị isi na ọdụ ndị mmadụ na-agbasa duhie ego ụzọ. Mara ihe taa tupu asa ndị agha ala anyị obi. Anyị bụ akwa akwụrụ n'ọrụ anyị. N'ịdị n'otu ka anyị guzo, n'ihi ka ọnụ ka anyị ga-arụpụta ezi ọrụ. Anyị ga-agbasi mbọ ike oge niile ịhụ na ala anyị nwere ọganihu. Guzosi ike nwee obi dị mkpa maka na anyị nwere ezi ntụkwasị obi na ndị ala anyị ga-eweta nnwere onwe anyị. Ọ bụrụ na anyị dị n'otu ma dị ike, anyị ga-achụpụ ihe ọjọọ ọbụla na ihe ụgha niile ha na-ezo. Ndị ala anyị na-echekwa ndụ ma na-akwalitekwa ntụkwasị obi.
Listen to this announcement. This is to inform the general public that Guinness Eye Center Onitsha, the Eye Department of Nanda Azikiwe University Teaching Hospital Newi, in partnership with Guinness Nigeria PLC, is offering 75 free cataract services to indigent patients with cataract. Screening of patients will commence on Wednesday, 3rd September, and end on Thursday, 4th September. Selected patients will be operated next week.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Alright, okay, thank you for staying tuned to Dara Radio 104.7 FM. You are listening to the Polity, and it's now 10:30 a.m. and we are going to open the phone lines for you to join this very conversation. Don't forget, we have looked at three things. Basically, the conviction of Simon Ekpa in faraway Finland, and then the debt that Nigeria mission owes in different countries, and we also talked about the wiki on ending garrulousness, where he talked about P2B being persona non grata in PDP, that if he comes back to PDP, he's going to stir crisis in that very party. So let's get to have your take. Don't forget, we also live on our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, 0803-827-6694 or 0803-221-6973. Don't forget that you have 2 minutes to make your contribution. Hello, good morning. Okay. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Your name?
Oh, I'm Elder Isaiah.
Elder from where?
I'm still from Onitsha.
Go on, Elder.
Good morning. God bless you. My take is on EPA's issue.
Okay, Elder, do me this very favor. Walk away from where your radio set is.
Okay. Let me complete the meeting complete.
Okay. So go on.
I think it's okay now.
Yes, go on, sir.
Okay. So my take is on EPA's issue. You see,
Okay.
I don't know why the government of this country should leave the most important thing and be pursuing shadow. As far as I'm concerned, this is a diversionary. You understand? It's diversionary. They want to remove our attention from the main issue that is dividing this country. Now, if you look at the issue of EPA, the government has accused to be behind EPA. Because if you look at EPA's role, it's quite different from what the IPOB's role is. IPOB is, as far as I'm concerned, they are peace loving. Secondly, the agenda of IPOB is rival about it. Because Nnamdi Kanu is pursuing the right course. Because if you look at what's happening in the Southeast, this after the war, Negroes have been marginalized. And nothing, family, it almost took something years until it started to destroy. Must somebody come up with issue before they start to do what is right? Okay, now look at the judicial system. This how the case was executed, carried out without any hindrance. Now because they incarcerated for almost more than 10 years now. The issue has been on ground and not has ended. So why can't Nigeria government came from the finish? And they finish because they know that our justice system is not upright. That's what really the matter there. If I were to judge in this country, in fact the matter will continue to take more than 100 years.
All right, thank you.
Nnamdi Kanu has been judged and is released.
Thank you. 2 minutes. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Tony.
Good morning, your name?
My name is Chris Ebuka Masara.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, on Simon Epa case, well, it's a welcome development to persons like me. I have my own opinion, because personally I'm not a fan of it. And then the judicial system in Finland, I get him now. You see, Finland is wrong very, very much. I get him now. You are a lawmaker in that country. You know the intrigues of those laws, and you know if you make a mistake, you will get trapped. And you go on to do those things that even in the law of the land, of which he claimed to be a citizen of, he goes a contrary against them. So the justice they rendered towards him, I welcome it, and I hope that some of these machineries down here we take a leap and then shade their thoughts. At least let us have peace in the Southeast. So I'm among those who welcome that judgment. But at the same time, I will want the Nigerian government to take a leap from there to fast track the case they have with Kanu, of which we know that many times they are not finding guilty of any offense down here. I get me now, and I have not followed these processes that agree to what some judgments have been rendered in favor of Nnamdi Kanu. In as much as the time have gotten a judgment that incarcerates him, but I see in Nigerian system that the judgment Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to get, you have to set him free. So let Nigeria do the needful for the fair judgment towards Nnamdi Kanu, so that we know which way forward.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you, good morning. Hello. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Okay, I think you have to try again. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
My friend Franklin. Good morning, Dr. Tony.
You're welcome.
In fact, I've been nice more than I bargained for this morning. But it's all to the glory of God. Most times, some things we ignore turns up in our faces. That the trouble with us is that we don't learn. Most of us are not listening to your analysis this morning. I didn't know that the young man, I don't know if he's young or old, because he's a bit, not too tall, but looking at him on television. His trophy, so to speak, showcasing and all that. I didn't know he was a member of parliament in Finland. And that is very pertinent. My name is Udala. Unfortunately, our government is so bereft of ideas. Here is a Nigerian that has become a Finnish man, even serves in their parliament, and Nigeria did not know what to do until the country itself had to fight it. Even if they do, they've not told us. I don't like opposition. Now they tell me they don't have anybody. So now what? What is there to hide? We keep hiding at the detriment of ourselves, cutting our noses to spite ourselves. Once I say, Nnamdi Kanu has been incarcerated for how many years now? And this man is there having fun. I saw him severally, asking him well, and he's a Nigerian. He said, the same tribe with Nnamdi Kanu and my humble self. So there's nobody to blame except us. Now they will say, oh, Makano, you. Okay, now. Only way, but I never go there and Finland to see where they are than Nigeria. I'm giving our children to kill themselves, buying them weapons that they cannot even handle or service. What kind of machine is that? Now, Finland is up to them. If they do their law the way they do it, they grant him bail, which I doubt. From what you read out, which I doubt. And Nigeria, trying to extradite him now, it may not be possible. So they shouldn't deceive us. If he's a Finnish citizen, you cannot say, Finnish citizen, not like he went to Asmara and bundled the Nnamdi. I don't know what is wrong with us. I don't know. Sometimes I think we've all lost a knot in the head.
All right.
Now look at the other one parading himself. He says this to Wike. Okay, you got Polity. Wike. What do you want to do with it? You are working in the federal capital. You are the man of the manor in Abuja. The third of the manor in Abuja. The steward of the manor in Abuja. Now you first. What has it done to you? Is PWB ever said it's coming to join PDP? Nigeria.
Okay, we'll take it from here.
Is coming to join PDP.
Thank you.
Let's begin to. Sorry, God bless you.
Yeah, thank you for understanding. Hello, good morning.
Very good morning to you.
Good morning, your name?
I'm Dr.
You're welcome.
I can hear you very well.
Yes, go on, we can hear you.
Yes, let me comment on that judgment from Finland. I think Nigerians are pursuing each other. Because as far as I'm concerned, Simon Ekpa is not a threat in any way to Nigerian security. And we have seen so many terrorist elements, even so many people that the foreigners, the foreign country has given us the list of terrorists. The terrorist sponsors, not up to 35 or 37 of them, even up to now. No demand for repatriation, no arrest, no trial. Only Simon Ekpa is giving them worry because some people don't want to hear anything about Biafra. In as much as I'm concerned, Simon Ekpa has every right to fight for his freedom.
Now, okay, hello. Why did you say that you don't think that Ekpa is a threat to the nation?
Please, Franklin, very sorry that I can't hear you, maybe because of network. Let me just round up, please. So, as far as I'm concerned, that man is not the seat at home is the most peaceful protest. The most peaceful protest. And the seat at home is still going on, and nobody is enforcing it. So you can't tell me that Simon from land is enforcing it at home in Igbo land or causing any security threat to anybody in Nigeria. I don't think so. So the terrorists and the people who is wielding weapons right from the south to somebody moved from south to Abuja with up to 1,000 highly sophisticated weapons. Put soldiers and no soldiers arrested, no stopping, no trial, no nothing. They even weathered it to Asoro to do one thing or the other, and they returned safely. Nobody had made any case on that. Only Simon Eber. And that is what the people. I'm not an apostle of Simon Eber, but I don't think that there is anything that they have done that is overmuch.
All right.
He has the
Thank
right
you.
to fight for his self-determination.
Thank you.
There is no security here. And the authority cannot provide it. They have every right to defend themselves.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. We've taken note of your comment. Hello. Good morning. Hello. Okay. Let's see if we have another person on board. Hello. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning. Your name?
Mr. Franklin, and good morning. This is Anthony Mexico. I'm calling from Olisa this morning.
Okay. Go on.
Let me make it quick. Even the news about the conviction. Simon Eber. I think sorry, I want to commend the Finnish government, especially for the speed delivery of justice. I want the federal government to make the justice system of the Finnish, so that in a case like this, she will not linger until the person will even outstay his punishment. So the speed delivery of this justice, I think, is welcome. And when you look at the arrest of a young man, since in November he was arrested till now, you agree with me that the state of insecurity in the south is mellowed down, even in all the states. So you will begin to see justice has been effective. Whereas people are saying that the punishment is lenient, and many people are saying that after the in Finland, he should come down and as an and make an effort to bring him down. So what happens to the unsuspecting members who he uses in his content creation? He says he's not making content. What happens to the unsuspecting fans who were exploited in his content creation? Because it is this kind of narrative that made the public to fertilize and to sponsor insecurity. So I would have expected that statement to be made to that effect, because I listened to when he was saying that there is worship here and they're going to bring down anybody that wants to push the method that they want to carry out. So he has become an orphan. Many people has denied him now. He's not supported. But when this is clear on, you see how the mammoth crowd, because of the narrative he pushes out, and the mob followed him and held his antics. So I think a statement should have been made concerning the unsuspecting public that are being used to represent this kind of vice. So I commend them for the speedy deliverance of justice. I never know that it will come as quicker like now. So let's emulate our justice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for calling. Hello, good morning.
My name is Comrade Watchman. I'm calling you from Onitsha.
Go on, Comrade.
Thank you very much. You see, some people who are against the conviction of this man in Finland, maybe I would say maybe they are insensitive to the plight of the people, so in Yala Agri, in Kigwe, and in Olo in Imo State, because that is where the influence of this guy that has been convicted is felt badly. You go to also go all these places I mentioned now, you see the level of destruction there, all because of the activities of Simon Eber. So people who are not from this area, they may not understand the damage this us in the name of giving us Biafra. In fact, at the point I was even asking whether also will be the capital of Biafra, because you see the level of destruction. People were killed. You see all this shit at home they do every Monday. That is where it is applied 100%. You dare not come outside. I have lost many people who are sick, but because of it at home, they cannot be taken to hospital. You dare not come out. Who are you to come out? So the conviction of this man is commendable. In fact, I will appeal to Finnish government to bring him down here. After he must have served the 6 years to bring him back to his roots, because he is the architect of Let's Go Back. So he should be brought to his roots so that he will know how that root is, and he will feel the level of destruction of this area.
Okay.
Good morning.
All right, good morning. Thank you for joining. So let's see who we have next on the other line. Hello, good morning. Okay, you can go to our Facebook page, Udala Radio 104.7 FM, drop your comment there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name?
Honorable in the house. Good morning to everyone that is just my voice this wonderful morning. The issue of Simon Eba.
Okay, may we know your name first?
My name is Honorable Olisa Mbeki, and I'm calling for this wonderful morning.
Okay, go on.
On the issue of Simon Eba, on the other hand, it's a welcome development. On the other hand as well, it is not a welcome development to some people. Depends on the how or angle you are seeing it from. But I know, yes, he might have his style of agitation might have caused a lot of harm to do, no doubt. And I also know that without his own style of agitation, since the arrest of Nnamdi Kanu, the issue of the agitation has been silent on the other hand. But the angle I'm coming from this morning, I'm not regretting it from it or not, but the angle I'm coming from is this: Nigeria government commending the Finnish government for convicting Simon Eba. They should bury their faith in shame. How long have Nnamdi Kanu been in detention? No conviction, short judgment, of ruling. They don't see reason to convict him, and he's there. Simon Eba, under a year, under a space of not up to 1 year, he was arrested. All in included. Everything about this is left of now. It's left for him. I don't know if they have room for appeal. If he wants to appeal, then if he is not going to appeal as Nigerian system of government is, he should just go and serve his health term and come out. Now, had it been Nnamdi Kanu, he had been convicted, then that young man will know why he is there, if he is serving his bail term or not. But they just kept him there. Now they are commending the Finnish government. Go and bury their faith in shame. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let's go to our Facebook page. We have this very post from Dr. Mrs. Molebra from Owerri. And she says, majority of our leaders have failed us. How can Nigerians trust the people they elected when the leaders have betrayed the trust? We are now having confidence meltdown, which is a situation of having little or no trust in leaders and the system. We need a U-turn from leaders that all hope is not lost, and change from the nonchalant attitude they show to the plight of the masses to real commitment. Then, only then shall confidence be restored. Mbechiobi, posting for me here says, I want to talk about Simon Eba's conviction by Finland government. It is a welcome development, and the judgment will affect Nnamdi Kanu negatively. But this should be a lesson to our judiciary. Onutukwu Emmanuel from Kumesi, thank you for following us and watching. Maazinwore Chikwadorosinachi says it's quite unfortunate that our people don't foresight actions or know the difference between a real freedom fighter and a criminal. Personally, I love the rearrested and the 6 years imprisonment of Mr. Simon Eba, because from all indications he is guilty of the allegations placed against him. He's watching from FM Onitsha. And then Master Bay SJP says this is heartbreaking for members of PDP, as Barrister Wike, the FCT minister who is currently playing anti-party politics and enjoying dividends of democracy as FCT minister under leadership of Jagaban of Nigeria, has created a faction in the PDP cycle, bringing confusion among members. Can this man and his disciples be powerful, which he cannot be suspended or expelled from PDP to allow Young to come up? Okay, he posted from Onitsha. Anthony, maybe I'll ask this for a question before I take the next call, because this issue of suspension, I think the PDP legal advisor, legal advisor, he addressed this yesterday, saying that they have not moved to suspend the Wike because there is no petition in that respect. I'll take this very call. Hello, good morning.
Badmos from Newi.
Go on, Badmos.
You know, most of these Biafra agitators, you know, they lay their thing on the sentiment people have on this marginalization and Biafran war, they think to all of them, all these agitators you see, they are not different with these type of politicians we have here. They are all the same thing. They don't give it, but the most painful aspect of it is that they are not even educated, because these Biafra agitators you see, we are living in Finland, we are living in UK to be deceiving us right here. But we don't know that we are even more educated than them. All these people living abroad. I have said it here that most of them that you see in UK, most of them are there. There are people send them. Some even went to Europe with like. They are not educated. They are illiterate. We are more educated than them. So they are using that we are in UK, we are in Finland, and they are telling us that they are using it to intimidate us here to be doing everything. Therefore, using Biafra to sugarcoat it. Look at where they have reduced us. We are nowhere in politics. We are even the Biafra. We are not seeing. All we are seeing now is that you know. I have said it here. The insecurity we have in Southeast right now are caused by Buhari. Had it been that Buhari follows the way Tinubu is doing it now, all these things we are having in Southeast will not happen. The Octagonal, it will not happen. Okay. So, if Tinubu is doing it, like, had it been that Buhari worked with the UK government, and some people are saying that they should bring someone here, but they should not bring him. So when they bring him here now, some people will be gathering in front of court in solidarity. So they should it should remain here. If they see any way to send Nnamdi Kanu back to UK, let them send him back to UK.
All right, so thank you. So we're out of time. So Tony, lots of things have been raised. One person talked about saying Eba isn't a threat to Nigerian government, and the question has been, should you cut your nose to spite your face? So maybe see how you can come in before we get to wrap up, and then this issue of PDP issue that somebody raised, saying if the party cannot suspend.
We have to be very honest to ourselves. No problem we have in this country is not being honest to ourselves, living in denial. How can someone say Iba is not a threat to security in this land? And he has said he has a Biafran Liberation Army. And then from the reports, he was able to buy weapons, armories, and there are many accounts in some banks we know we are frozen. And we're able to establish here how much he realized. And we're also able to establish here that he was saying that Biafra will come today, will come tomorrow, and he keeps giving a different date. And even when people are being scammed, they don't even understand the scam. The point remains that, yes, maybe Buhari may have gone a wrong way in his approach. He didn't follow the right approach. Where he had thought about suppression and oppression, he landed us where we are. But the truth remains, he was a security threat. And there were those that we are following his commands. There were those that whenever he talks, they obey. Whatever he tells you, when he declared war against Peter Mba, that was sometime around 2023, based on each of sit at home. And each of sit at home, you see the enforcement, how it was violently enforced. You cannot kill those you wish to also protect for whatever reason. The point remains, I have always said, let the law serve its own course. Let whatever law either Finland has said, this is based on evidence provided. And just like I said, in all of these accusations, he said he was doing content, and then he denied them on the ground that he was doing content. And the question is, how could he be doing content and people are being killed on the other side? But in any of this, no matter the side you belong, let's not live in denial. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Is it the way out? And when somebody tells you that you're going to get Biafra today, you're going to get Biafra tomorrow, and at the end of the day, you pay money, and then he will let you know that freedom is not for free. Is that not scam enough? So the point I'm trying to make is this. I have always been trying to be modest and also diplomatic about some of these things. But we must be able to decipher, to know when we are being told the truth or not. See, in all of this, Finland has judged. He has right to appeal. And he would find he has to give notice of appeal within 7 days. And then he has 30 days to make a formal appeal. But I have just said, from the indication, he has not even given notice of appeal. He has 7 days to do that. Notice of appeal, 7 days. 30 days to do the appeal. And he can appeal to the appeal court in that Punjab. So the point remains, I don't like the idea of us living in denial. We will see the truth and we prefer not to say it. You know, that's what we do. So it is just the issue.
All right. So maybe we should also look up to the Judge Adeyanju to know whether, if eventually Peter B decides to go to court to file a case of defamation, whether he's going to say he's doing content. Because this very morning, he reminded Obi that